it's Amy Co from Snark Heart to demonstrate the birthday brooch. Now, you've said to me, darn it, I'm so sad. I have a diode and I can't do some of these clear acrylics. Well, of course, I love my diode friends as well. So we are going to put together a pretty Luna Moth brooch out of 16th inch wood. So this will cut and go together really quickly and easily for you guys. This also will use the same attachment system that I used with the other. So when this goes on, it is nice and stable and thick, and it's not going to get flipped upside down when you're wearing this brooch. So additionally, I just thought of this. You could put a magnet on the back. These would be beautiful fridge magnets as well. So I did engrave this, but you can score this file. But because the lines, there's so many lines, it's probably going to take you about the same amount of time to score this as it would to engrave. So there is that information. So to color this project today, I am going to use this beautiful product called Unicorn Spit. If you have not used it yet, it is so wonderful. It is a hyperpigmented gel stain, and it reacts really well with water. It is so cool, and it smells like flowers. So the people in your house won't whine and bitch that you're using spray paint because it smells nice. So to start off with, I'm going to take and spritz my project with a little bit of water just so this moves nicely. It's a cheap atomizer from the dollar store. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe. These are some of the best things for applying. And I'm going to lay down a base of white first so my gold really sticks out pretty. I'm going to squish a little bit onto a baby wipe and smush this together. It's kind of hard to see probably there, but I just want to wipe this on and give a little bit whiter background. The cleanup on this stuff is fantastic. If you get it all over your paws, all you have to do is wash with some soap and water. Always comes off really nice in the shower. So it's kind of hard to see, but this just did give me a little bit whiter base. The idea here is that you don't want to put it on like acrylic paint. It's supposed to be more see-through, more stainy than painty. I mean, if you want it to look like paint, just use cheap acrylic paint. But if you want it to look stainy and have this pretty look to it, whoops, making a mess here, use a little bit of wipes and water. Okay, next I'm going to bring in some gold gel stain, and I'm going to use a lot more of it than I did on the last set. Just because I really want this to have some beautiful shimmer to it. So kind of spread it out a little bit and wipe it on. When you see this in the light, it is going to be just luminous and so, so pretty. It's got some real depth to it. As you can see, I engraved the antennae for the moth on this because it would be so delicate to cut out of wood. I'm actually going to apply a little bit of this right to the project because I do want this to be a little more luminous. But if I tried to cut them out, it just wouldn't hold up. So I just take and engrave it on the background, and then I'm just smushing this gold in here. And I wish we had smell-o-vision so you guys could smell how wonderful my studio smells right now. So now we've got like a gold harvest moon look. Isn't that so pretty? So I'll just set this aside to dry for a little bit. And it's going to be all pretty and happy and gold. And then this is a product you do need to seal. I use like a Kmart finish sealant. I think she said you don't want to use a water-based. I will get back to you guys on that. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and use my baby wipe to clean up my surface a little. As you can see, it just cleans up like a dream. Okay, so let's get into making this look like a Luna moth. So one of my favorite things to do when I go to the restaurant is save my little cups from my creamer. And my family is horrified and embarrassed that I do this every time. But these are wonderful little mixing cups, and you're recycling. You can run these guys through the dishwasher, a few times. So I'm going to start off with a base of white. I'm going to give a little squash of this into my container. Now, next up, I'm going to use a squash of this pearly, this pearly green, which is called Poseidon. And isn't that beautiful? We'll give it a little shake, and we'll do a decent size squirt of this in my little tub here. And then a little dot of yellow, just so it gets kind of that kind of Luna moth color. I think I might have put a little too much yellow in. And then just so we get a little more luminosity, I'm going to use this ice egret. Sorry, I can't read because I have old lady eyes now that I'm in my late 40s, as in I'll be 50 next year. But I want to use this sparkle too because sparkle is pretty. All right, so now I'm going to use this super fancy tool, also known as a toothpick, and give this a mix. I kind of see if it's turning the color that I like. And wow, look at that. We are just about there to start. So yay, team. I wanted it to have a little bit of that white base. I'm surprised, actually, I can actually use a little more yellow. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to. I might normally add a little more yellow, but I think this is going to work nice. So this is a buildable color too. So if it's not as dark as you'd like, you can just go in and brush over it again. Okay, so starting off with dampening. I'm going to grab another baby wipe and actually just use my toothpick here so I don't waste any. And dab this in here. And then just kind of start wiping in a pretty and circular motion. So if you want it to be really soft effects, you can leave it like this. You don't have to go in and go darker. I want it to be a little more apparent here. A little of this goes a long ways. You don't have to worry too much about the top part of the wings if you want to put that top part on for some more depth. Again, those are optional. You don't have to have the top part for depth. But I figure if we're putting this together, it might as well look nice and fancy. So we'll set that aside, let that cure for a few minutes. So as you can see, I'm wiping it on really delicate and soft here, and it's a very soft look. But I want this to be a little more defined. So I'll put it on here and just wipe in. And then in a moment here, I'm going to glue the back together some more, and we're going to come in with a bit of brown and kind of age this a smidge too. So it's got kind of a steampunky look. But look, doesn't that look like a Luna moth? Isn't that so pretty? Oh man, I can't get over. I wish we had smell-o-vision so you guys could smell how amazing my studio smells right now. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. We don't even have the stupid flying cars yet, unfortunately. You probably can't see in there, but it's even got some glowy glitter to it because I've got that. We'll probably put a little more glitter on it too. Oh my gosh, look at that. Luminous and pretty. So we'll set that aside to dry just a little bit. So we'll come back in here and you can see our moon is glowy. To put this guy together, I'm going to make sure that I've got, well, it doesn't really matter which way the pins are. It can go up and down or side to side, but I do this with 2 pins so that it doesn't ever get wonky on your shirt. And as you can see, I use 2 layers. I use this thicker layer, or this plain layer that is the moon, and then the one with the holes. And I'm going to show you why this is the bee's knees. So I invented this attachment system. And to start off with, I'm just going to glue my wood layers together with a little bit of Aleene's. You can use all craft, you can use pretty much anything, but you know, Aleene's is tantamount to using a wood glue, really. It's really tough. It's going to knit those fibers together. But then when it comes to gluing down our next part, I'm going to use a bit of all craft. So as you can see, I've got holes here. Now, why, Amy, do we have the holes? Well, Amy, we have the holes because we're going to use these little button guys to put, oh, sorry, out of screen there. I'm going to put these little button guys to put our tie tacks in. This way you don't have to try and screw something down. you've just got a nice attachment that looks clean and classy. You could do this with wood, but I have a whole bunch of these cut out of acrylic at all times because I make a lot of brooches for myself. So when you get these tie tacks, they have this little nub here. That means that's going to keep like a regular tie tack from getting wonky, but it'll cause trouble in your regular life. So we're just going to snip this little guy off with my micro needle snippers there. Hopefully you can see what's going on with that. Little snip. And then I'm going to come in here with an amount of all craft glue. Come on, you. Play nice with the kids. There we go. That has a nice amount of open time on it, so I'm not too worried about it drying up on me. I'm going to unmask my little buttons here. So this is a 15mm circle, and then I engraved this 2 or 3 times deeper. That's going to be the same size as my tie tack. And then cut a hole that's the same size as the post of my tie tack. Unmask this. I should have unmasked before the video, but here we are. And then you just take, I've got schmutz on my finger there, and thread this through so that little head is going to fit in the engraved part there. Hold it by the stem and glue down. And that's it. Once that fully cures, you're going to have a really securely attached piece of acrylic for putting your brooch on. So just repeat the process here. I know you probably don't need to watch this part, but tough luck. You're here and you're with me. So put that through the hole. Lift that down in there so I don't get all craft all over my fingers. Give a little press. And once that's cured, that should be nice and secure, and it's not going to get turned wonky on your shirt or jacket or whatever you wear it on. You could wear it on your underwear for all I care. So you could stop right here, but I'm not that person. Then I would add this layer right here, but oh no, that's still not good enough because it's not sparkly enough for this girl. So I'm going to grab another baby wipe, and this time I'm actually going to go ahead and put this glittery stuff directly on here so I really get a lot of glitter. So if you aren't glittery, what is your life even for? Okay. Take baby wipe and just kind of gently buff that in, dot that in. Ah, glittery goodness. And then to get just a little more depth and maybe look a little more kind of old, kind of steampunky, I'm going to grab my brown, wherever that is put away. I'm going to grab a little bit of brown. This one is called Rustic Realty. I don't know. Give it a little shake. And this is where I'm going to come back in and be a lot more gentle with how much of this stuff I use. So a tiny, tiny dot. That's probably even too much. I'm going to really work it together in this. Put it over my finger and then come in the edges and just kind of edge this a tiny, tiny bit. Just got a little more depth. And if you don't like where something is, where it is, if you don't like how it came out, you just wipe it off. It's so, so wonderful and forgiving. But this is going to give you just a little more depth and interest and look a little more aged. In fact, I'm even going to come in and do that on the moon a smidge. I'm going to go a little more aged on the wings here where I put the top part. Oops, see, too much. Wipey, wipey. Okay. And then once this is all dry, I would seal it with just a little bit of sealant, just so the pigment doesn't ever have a chance to wear off. Because it isn't the strongest pigment, it isn't the strongest finish in the world. I mean, it's not your actual finished product. So in actuality, I think I'm actually going to come in here with a bit of this pearly green and do the same thing that I did with the brown. Oh, smells so good. Come on, you. Oh, now there we go. Look at the magic happening, you guys. This is where the magic happens, especially if I stop dropping it all over the place. My hands are all wet and slick. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I am a little surprised to say I think I might actually like this wood one better than the acrylic, and I love acrylic. Need a little more of this blue green. A little smush so it gets worked into my paper towel or my baby wipe. Look at this. This is so beautiful, you guys. Just kind of around the edges there. Oh man. Yep. That's the ticket. Wow. Look at all that depth and that interest. Just because we added a little bit more blue and a tiny bit of brown. Now, I'll admissions here. I don't have living Luna moths where I am from, so this is going a little bit off of the internet, and it's also going a lot bit off of fantasy because that's the way my life is. Look at that. That is just so pretty. Actually, it looks like I need a little more blue on this top part. Maybe. There we go. I'm having some issues here today. And I haven't even started having margaritas yet. That'll be later in the day. There we go. I really wanted to get that blue-green in there to bring that out. Wow, that is pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, then I would glue these down together like so. And like I said earlier, I'm actually going to come in here with this brown and go around the edge of this a little bit just so we get that kind of shadowy neon moon looking, the dark side of the moon there. Tap, tap, tap with a clean baby wipe. Move that around in there just a smidge. Bring in this brown and just keep working it till you're happy. There's really no wrong answer. This stuff generally dries very, very matte, which is really great. But if you want it to be shinier, you can seal it with something shinier. It just matters. It's just a matter of your personal preference. So there we have it, guys. We have a beautiful Luna moth pin for, oh my God, that came out pretty. We have a beautiful Luna moth pin for our diode babies and people who want to work with wood instead. So thank you so much for watching today. Please like, subscribe, and check out the Snark Heart Patreon, also known as Snark Club. Have a great day, everybody.